Welcome to the Ho Ho Show, rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airways and strap in as we defend the Constitution. Because freedom matters.
We are broadcasting live from the Cottage Studio. You can check out my website, thehohoshow.com. I'm my workplace on social media and a proud member of Weaponized Sloth Productions, so welcome to the Ho Ho Show. And as always, I'm your host, Ho Ho. And if you guys would like to follow along with the madness and check out all the articles that I will be using on the show, you can head on over to thehohoshow.com. Just click on that newsfeed tab at the over here side of the screen, upper right-hand portion. And there you'll see my magazine on Flipboard, which is, a great place to get stuff, news, articles. They do a good job. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, Spreaker. Welcome, Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, Periscope, and Facebook. How y'all's doing? It's kind of a dreary day today. We just had some rain. Hopefully it clears up a little bit because I know some people that are out in the wilderness today. There's camping. It's a good time for camping, guys. Man, whenever I was younger, this was the time of year that we always went camping, because you had, decent days. You had chilly nights. It was just amazing. Great, campfire weather and, s'more weather and I don't know s'more what, but it was s'more weather, good times. So, yeah, welcome everybody. And, welcome Dave over there in YouTube land. He says he just got to work putting his set together. So awesome. Welcome over there. Glad to see you. Dave's awesome. Yeah, Dave is awesome. So I give a shout out to him last week on his show, Dumbing It Down for Dave. And, I'm thinking I'm going to make this kind of a regular thing, giving people shout outs and whatnot for the shows that they do and whatnot. And let's see, another guy. Now, this was like, woo, I already got a call in. Ooh, here we go. Hello, you are on the air.
I'm on the air?
You are on the air.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, there's a delay. Oh, sorry, that's me. Let me turn my computer off. That's what's happening. Oh! Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, sorry, man. This is Alex.
Hi,
if
Alex.
You're wondering.
How's it going?
Hey, man. I'm good. I know you're talking about camping and Dave Canyon, that bastard. But, no, I called in to let people know what an amazing person you are. Okay? Are you vaping? You can go vape. I saw it.
Yeah, I vape.
You don't have to hide it. It's okay. It's okay. Listen, man, I want to let your listeners know that they know you're a nice guy and you're a good talk show host, right?
Yeah.
But you are a very generous man. And I know that they don't know who the hell I am or what Live Talk is. But you have saved Halloween. Like the Grinch who stole Christmas, Jared Hohenstein has saved Halloween. Because I'll tell you this right now. I was going to cancel Halloween. Nothing for the children. Nothing for Jared. Nothing for your listeners. Anyone that knows you or me knows that I was serious. This show was not going to go on.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You, my friend, are so generous and sent that. Should I say it on air? I don't want to embarrass you.
You can if you want to.
Jared, you sent me not only the 3D mic that I needed, a binaural microphone that I know you don't know anything about and you don't really care about, so thank you for sending it, but also a Spark microphone, a Blackout Spark SL condenser XLR microphone. Beautiful. I'm stroking it, and it comes in a mahogany box, just in case you didn't know. It's beautiful. I'm just stroking it like I'm not going to tell you. It's a family show. But Jared, I owe you. I'm going to promote the living crap out of you from here until, what did we say? I mean, Christmas, as far as I'm concerned. I know we said Halloween. But, dude, you are I don't even know. You're like Santa Claus. You're like Santa Claus. This weekend was like Christmas in October. So I'm going to shut up now, but your thoughts?
yeah, I mean, it's definitely more than welcome, and that's, it's kind of one of them things. It's like, it was, besides the Spreaker Live show, which is an awesome, podcast about podcasting, gives all kinds of great,
Yes.
Tips and everything else on podcasting. You being the co-host of that show for as long as you was a co-host for it, quite a while. You were like the
years.
first, couple years.
It was about 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, you were the first one outside of that one that I listened to. So, I mean, this whole thing
Wow.
got started, way back then. So, about a year and a half ago, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
So
Yeah.
does Rob
No,
get
2 years
half of
ago.
this microphone, and does Rob get half the treats?
No, well, I think he probably has one, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Rob's fine. He'll be fine. Trust me. He's all set up. No, but
Right.
dude, thank you so much. I can't tell you how thankful I am. I know I've called you. We talked off air, and I'm going to continue to call you and embarrass you. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. You have yourself a great one.
Hey Jerry, can I say one thing?
Yeah, sure.
I know you're vaping, dude, but you've heard all the stuff in the news about vaping, and so just be careful, bro.
Oh, I have.
God knows what's in that thing. Okay, all right. God knows what's in that thing. Jared, thank you again. I'm looking forward to your promo because I'm going to play it on Live Talk in the Fringe FM 562 Live. Okay, brother?
All right. You have a good one.
All right, thanks, brother. Bye.
Goodbye. Alex Exon, ladies and gents. Oh, did it hang? Yep, we did. Okay, sweet. But yeah, so yeah, I was feeling generous, and first guy that I started listening to whenever I started, the podcasting. Of course, you guys know the story. Made a mistake, downloaded the wrong app. Next thing you know, I'm podcasting. That's how it started. It was redonkulous, But I figured, hey, why not a little bit of that versus a yearly subscription? Why not? So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the show. I got a handful of things I'm wanting to talk about because, last week we were talking. Let me grab my other list. Last week we were talking, of course, Ukraine stuff. We're going to, kind of slightly touch base with that. I'm not really wanting to talk about it too much anymore because right now, there's really not a whole heck of a lot of new stuff going on with it. So, holy crap. Holy crap, will you stop? I forgot to mute my phone. Sorry, guys. Let me go ahead and mute that now. We're muted. All right, so, not really a whole lot going on new with that, but we are going to touch base a little bit on it. But I did forget to talk about, the red flag laws. I forgot to touch base on that one. So let's go ahead and go into a little bit of the whistleblower stuff that they have been talking about. I guess that they are, it's been confirmed that the guy, CIA agent, I think we discussed that last week, but, they're really trying to push for, this to get, for those, for the guy to, come forward and, his identity to be released, I guess, I don't know if they really want that because a lot of what has been coming out has been, the relationship between him and Schiff. So, it's like, it was definitely something that wasn't just a spur of the moment. It was something that the whistleblower had help, coming up with the, with the whistleblower report that he did, So, it's those type of things that we were speculating about last week has definitely been getting confirmed, this week, So, it's just a whole bunch of stuff going on. And the further this goes, and this is kind of the hilarious part that I'm finding about it. Excuse me. The more this is going, because it started off being as far as the Democrats with impeachment, it started off being a very narrow, very focused, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it. And as more and more information has been getting released about this, they're broadening it to where more or less is what it boils down to is we don't like them, and I'm going to kind of change directions a little bit because, one of the things that President Trump, I didn't vote for him, I'll be honest, I didn't vote for him at all, but I'll definitely be voting for him in 2020 because one of the things that those who did vote for him wanted him to do was, with that whole phrase of draining the swamp. That's what they wanted him to do. And quite honestly, I got a great idea for what he can do to drain the swamp. And this doesn't come from me. This is an idea. This is something that former President Bill Clinton did whenever he got into office. Because what he did, if you guys remember correctly, is he fired like 96 plus people from the different various agencies, like the top dogs from these various agencies. Because these guys, if you think about it, okay? Now, my life, being a truck driver, I am ruled by the Department of Transportation, okay? I am not ruled by Congress. These are not laws that have been written in Congress by people who are subservient to me, whom are being elected by vote, okay? My life is governed by the Department of Transportation in the hours of service regulations that I have to abide by. The people who wrote these regulations are not people who are subservient to me. These are not people whom have the risk of getting booted out of office because I'm not going to vote for them. So there's no checks and balances, if you will. There's no check to that. I mean, you can vote a new president in, I guess, but just because you vote a new president in because of the power of the deep state, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have a changing of the guard. And that's what I'm talking about with this, a changing of the guard, because that's what we need. That's what Bill Clinton did, change the guard. He fired a lot of these people, and that's the same stinking thing that President Trump, I would love to see him do. You want to drain that swamp? Get rid of those people in the upper echelon, however you pronounce that word. Get rid of those people in the top, get some new blood in there, maybe shake some things up again. Now, granted, you've got different agencies, this, that, and the other that, the whole, you get rid of these people. Next thing you know, something bad is going to happen and somebody's going to be sitting in that chair, in that position that doesn't know, what to do, doesn't know their job. Those type of things, it's going to an extent, it's going to happen, but you're still going to have people in there that know what they're doing, knows how to handle the problem. It'll be fine. What's people worried about, And talk like this has already came up, especially whenever he fired, some of the people in the FBI. It's already been talked about. And the backlash that he got was huge. You guys remember the backlash that he got for doing that? It was absolutely huge. But Bill Clinton did it. Former President Bill Clinton did it. And after the election, this whole Obama thing, I'll have more freedom after the election, just give me a little bit. I really do think that would be the absolute best move for him to do. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about him doing that. I absolutely think that he should. Absolutely think that he should. And now, you know what? Let's just go ahead and take a quick break, because when I get back, I'm going to dive into a little bit of topic that, I love. Guns. I love guns. Guns are amazing. Dude, okay, check this out. I share the studio with a few other people. A lot of you I'm sure know. And one of the people that I share it with, he's, former Marine. He's got an awesome show, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central, the Machine Radio Show. And he left a bullet in the studio. I'm not talking about just a bullet. I'm talking a bullet. Look at this puppy. This thing is huge. This thing's big. That's like, holy crap. I was like, wow. Thing's huge. I thought it was like a bottle opener when I first seen it, because I know another one of the guys, he's got a bottle opener that same stinking size, so I'm like, it's a bottle opener. And then Vector, being the little turd that he is, he's knocking things over around in here, knocks that over, and that thing seemed a lot solid than what I had originally thought it was. I was like, ooh, that's the actual bullet. Ooh. I had to laugh about it. So, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to be talking about the red flag laws, and we're also going to get into a little bit of Illinois things with the with FOID cards and different things of that nature. So, just a few minutes, guys, and we will be right back. All right, welcome back to the Ho Ho Show. And guys, before I went to break, I said that we were going to be talking about red flag laws. We're going to get into some gun stuff because guns are amazing. And so, that's where we're going to go now. So I had read something on Facebook. Now, this was like 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I don't know. I've slept since then. But it's been a little while ago. And it was talking, red flag laws. And of course, this was like a dramatization of like a possibility of what could happen. I'm not going to bore you with the story, but I tell you what, though, it definitely gave me pause. It definitely gave me pause for a good, simple reason, because basically is what this thing does. Okay. Just kind of giving you the short and skinny of it. It takes away some of your rights. It revokes in a few ways the Fourth Amendment. Yep, Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment. Wait, is that right? The Fifth Amendment? Yeah, kind of the Fifth Amendment. Yeah, and of course your Second Amendment, and even taking away your if they kill you in the process, But let's get into the crux of it though, because it's more or less is what this thing does is allows anybody to more or less turn somebody in for absolutely nothing. And life, people could die from this. Let's just be blunt and honest. People can die. Not just people whom their rights are being infringed, but the police officers whom are carrying out the orders to do this, to infringe upon this. Their lives can be lost too. So, this could really end up turning bad, okay? Now, I don't know if you guys follow gaming at all, okay? I'm sure that you guys have heard of a term called swatting, okay? That's where a guy in a chat room who is tormenting, being a butthole, or just whooping the crap out of people, end up getting somebody else really, really mad at them, and then they call the cops and get the SWAT turned in on them, and you end up watching this whole thing play out on, generally on a live stream or, whatever. I've heard of somebody losing it. Well, I've heard of something bad happening from that. I don't quite remember what it was. It's been a while ago. Memory gets a little foggy, as I'm sure you guys can relate to that. But, that same type of thing is what kind of worries me about this, okay? Because, again, this is something that, a neighbor can turn you in. Flat out, somebody that doesn't like you can turn you in for nothing more than having a different political view, just owning a gun, posting some type of a picture on Facebook or Twitter or what have you, a video or anything. They can just flat turn you in just for not liking you. Next thing you know, cops show up. Not just cops, but SWAT. They're showing up expecting some kind of a fight. They don't announce themselves. They don't, know nothing. Just break down the door just like SWAT and enter your house. And if you are protecting yourself, protecting your rights, protecting your home from an invader, what's going to happen then? No investigation is going on. No due process. No Fifth Amendment, that whole, no Fourth Amendment, as in, the freedom from unreasonable searches and seizures. No Fifth Amendment, right to due process, innocent until proven guilty. That's completely out the window. Just rights being thrown out the window just for being accused of something. And they keep the language in this. They keep the language vague. And they do this on purpose because basically they want people's rights to be infringed. That's what it boils down to. That's exactly what it boils down to. Now, if you guys, I'm from Illinois, and Mr. Exum from the Exum Experience and Live Talk, who called earlier in the show, he's from out in California, and I know things are pretty bad out there too whenever it comes to gun laws and restrictions. I don't think anything can top Chirac. That's what we in Illinois lovingly call Chicago. Chirac. Chiracistan. Some of the strictest gun laws in the country that has one of the highest, deaths due to gun violence. Gun laws work. Yeah. whatever. If you believe that, I have some swampland, in Nevada. I'll sell you swampland. Get it? Desert. Oh, I'm so clever. But a buddy of mine, a guy I know, all right, Illinois, we have this thing called the FOID card, FOID, Firearms Identification Card. Firearms, whatever. It's an identification card. Firearm owners identification card. I had to think really hard on what FOID stood for. Holy crap. Firearm owner identification card. Okay, we have that. That's what we have to have in order to, buy a gun. Okay, that's what we have to have. They got, just a big, huge questionnaire you got to fill out. All kinds of questions they want to know. Now, here's the thing, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I understand. Now this is in the heart of the Second Amendment, okay? Right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. We'll get into some more of that kind of stuff later. But, I get the want and the desire. I'm not going to go with necessity, but I get what the want and desire to have safeguards to ensure that the wrong people aren't getting guns. And I'm at least okay with a certain amount of infringement to ensure that, okay? I'm just going to be honest with you guys, okay? Because, there's no way to safeguard it away from the criminals unless you're doing some type of a law that, is going to be infringing rights, But, that's also a thing, though, too, because it can still be argued that if you choose to step outside of society and commit laws and break laws, then, well, a certain amount of your freedom is going to be taken away. It's kind of it's an understood you kind of a thing if we're talking English class, But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, if you've paid your debt to society, in quotation marks, rehabilitated, maybe, then why is your rights being infringed upon still? That wouldn't that be a failure of the rehabilitation system? And if you're not really rehabilitated, why are you being let out of prison? These are the things I ask myself, But at any rate, this gentleman is, I'm not mentioning any names, okay, former Marine. He got into a scuffle when he was in the Marine Corps. Got his FOID card after the Marine Corps, okay? Renewing his FOID card, they're like, hey, you got into a scuffle, a long time ago. And I know you got your FOID card after the scuffle, but considering, this is Illinois and we really don't like people owning guns, we're going to reject your FOID card now. So here he is, former Marine, in a scuffle. He got into a fight, like at a bar, I think. He got into a fight. Nobody got seriously injured. There might have been a broken nose or two involved in this, broken hand, broken face, broken fist. I don't know. Might have been something like that going on. Wasn't classified as a violent crime, okay? Getting his FOID card rejected. Why? And, he told me about this, and I told him, I go, dude, look, it's simple. This is why they're doing it. You're former military. They don't want you to have a gun. You really got to question a government whenever they don't want you to be armed, okay? That's when it's time to start really questioning your government. Whenever they're trying to take away your ability to not just protect yourself, but stand up for yourself. Okay? Now, because he knows the oath of office that he took, and last week I talked to, Brandon, host of Machine Radio Show, and, talking about that oath of office, talking about that, that once a Marine, always a Marine. There's no such thing as an ex-Marine. So whenever push comes to shove, stop, rewind, play. When push comes to shove, you're going to do what is necessary to stand up for those who can't fight themselves. Awesome movie, by the way. A Few Good Men. Love that movie. You can't handle the truth. Anyway, hope I don't get copyright infringement by that. But he knows his oath, and he's going to honor that oath, even today. So I told him, I go, that's why they don't want you to have a gun, because they know you're going to honor your oath. They know that. They don't want you to have a gun. That's why they took it away. They just came up with an excuse. There you go. No, he's fighting. He's working on fighting. And I don't know if it's going to end up working for him or not. I hope it does, just because of some of the janky things that Illinois is doing. It's like, holy crap, guys, But here's the thing, though, okay? Now, this is where I'm wanting to kind of get into. Now, we're almost getting into the crux of the show, guys. We're almost getting into the crux of this show. Because our mistake as citizens knowing the oath that not only military took, but the oath of office that our representatives has taken, the oath of office that our President of the United States of America has taken. We've trusted these people to understand their oath, to adhere to their oath, okay? I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office in which I am about to enter, so help me God. That is the oath. Support and defend the Constitution of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We've trusted these people to do just that. And while, let's just say the communists, let's just say the socialists, let's just say, because I don't want to say the Democrats, I don't want to just lump them in that, like all of them in that kind of a category, but let's just say the far-leaning left, okay? The difference between the left and the right, the left is complete and utter governing, complete and utter domination by the government, and then on the far right, you have complete and utter anarchy, which is why it kind of, the Constitution isn't even in the middle, okay? I can't even say that because the Constitution isn't in the middle. But it's not in anarchy, though, either, okay? Far left, complete communism, full control, 100% control by the government, and then you have the far right, which is complete and utter anarchy. But we, as constitutionalists, because, I am a individual patriot. I'm a constitutional conservative leaning a little on the libertarian side, okay? I'm not a Republican. I'm not claiming that. Don't you dare call me a Republican. I ain't no Republican, I ain't no Democrat either, because I'm not a communist. I don't believe in government, the government having too much power. I believe in the Constitution, self-governance. But we trusted these people to honor their oaths, and they haven't, okay? While the communists and the socialists and all these people are trying to take away our rights, instead of paying attention to what was going on, we kind of unplugged from the whole thing. That was our mistake. That's where we screwed up. We trusted the politicians to adhere to their oaths. Trusted our politicians. It's like, holy crap, Well, guys, there's another aspect of this. And in talking about freedom, okay? And this comes from a conversation that I had with a gal not that long ago. And we were talking about, the Bill of Rights. We were talking about the Communist Manifesto, okay? Now, I did a show about this, oh, good grief, how long has it been? I don't know if it was like this past 4th of July show that I did, or if it was, the year before that 4th of July show. I don't remember which one I did. Heck, for all I know, it might have been a random different, show that I did. I don't remember. I've slept since then. But I did a show about this, and it was like, it was kind of a drag show. It really was. There's no good way to do this, okay? But I'm going to do it quick. I'm going to do it fast. And I'm giving you guys a little bit of information because the conversation that we had was basically the question of, where are we at in our freedom? What kind of freedoms have we had taken away from us? Where do we stand now? And how closely do we resemble Marxism and communism in our own form of government here right now? Not in as it is, as it was written, as the Constitution of the United States of America, but where we have drifted since. Where do we stand now? Okay, Bill of Rights. Now I've even got like 4 or 3 pages. Yeah, 3 pages worth of like a simplified version of this thing, as in quickly. There you go. But it's like, come on. I mean, it's not rocket science, guys. It's really not. It's not rocket science. I mean, they wrote this thing in plain, simple English so that this way, even the I don't want to say the uneducated can read it and understand what it's talking about, but like even a kindergartner, maybe not a kindergartner, but somebody in elementary school can understand this. Okay. First Bill of Rights, or the first bill, Amendment 1. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of press, peaceably assemble and petition. Here's an important fact on this. Here's an important mention. Here's an important thing you need to know on this one is it's the freedom of religion, not the freedom from religion. Freedom of speech, not the freedom from speech. A lot of people have that misinterpretation when it comes to the First Amendment because they think that one implies the other, and no, it doesn't. When we're talking now, here's the thing. I got to make a distinction here, guys. I got to make a distinction. We're talking public sector, not private sector. Okay, in your own home, of course. If you don't want the speech to be in there, you shouldn't have to put up with it. I get that. Private sector, no, you shouldn't have to put up with anything you don't want to. Public sector, you don't have that freedom. Okay, because as long as I have the freedom to do whatever the Bill of Rights, whatever this thing tells me I can do, I have the freedom to do any of these things, regardless of whether you want me to do it or not, and you have the freedom to get the heck out of the vicinity, and if you don't like what I say, get away from me. If you don't like me, praying, then get away from me. If you don't like the Muslim on his prayer rug being there in the public arena, then get away from him. That's the freedom. He has the right, the freedom of religion, and you have the freedom that if you don't want to be around it, then get away from it, The second one, of course, well-regulated militia, right of the people to keep and bear arms. Keep and bear arms as to have, to own, and to carry on you. Why do I need an FOID card whenever constitutional carry means that I could go outside and have one on my person? Okay? I don't get that. 3, no quartering of soldiers. Doesn't really mean a whole heck of a lot nowadays, so I'll move on. Freedom from unreasonable searches and seizures is 4. 5, right to due process of law, freedom from self-incrimination, and the freedom from double jeopardy, which is not that portion in Jeopardy where you get twice the money from your bet. Oh, no. That was a good movie, by the way. Double Jeopardy had a not Samuel L. Jackson. Holy crap. Who was that guy? Tommy Lee Jones in it. Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones. Good movie. Let's see. The next one, number 6. Right of accused persons Right of accused persons. What? Can I write English? The right of the accused to talk to the person who's accusing them. And then the right to a speedy and public trial. 7, right to a trial by jury in civil cases. Number 8, freedom from excessive bail and cruel and unusual punishment. And then number 9, and here's an important one, guys. This is one that everybody seems to breeze over like it doesn't even exist. Number 9, other rights of the people. As in, that there are rights that we didn't mention here, but just because we didn't mention it doesn't mean you don't have it. There's still other rights that you got that goes beyond the Bill of Rights. And then number 10, the powers that weren't specifically given to the federal government or prohibited to them belong to the people and the states respectively. That's number 10. Okay? Now, let me quickly go through the 10 pillars of communism. Because whenever we were discussing that, she asked me, how far along are we? Or I asked her, do you realize how far along we are? Like 7, 8. I was like, try like 9, almost 10. It's like they're working on it, okay? 10, abolition, I hate that stinking word, abolition of private property and the application of all rent to public purpose, as in taking away all private land. Okay? Eliminating private land home ownership. Now, here's the thing, guys. There's a couple aspects I want you guys to think about. What is that? The habeas corpus thing where they can just take your property for public use? Okay? It goes deeper than that. Okay? People like to say, oh, home ownership. Oh, I own my land. Oh, this, that, and the other. Let me ask you a question. Do you really own it? Well, yeah, of course I own it. Oh, okay. Don't pay your taxes on it. What happens? Government comes in, they take your house, they take everything. They give you like maybe 5 days to get your stuff out. I don't know how long they give you. I mean, I know they give you some time to get your stuff out. But they go in there, they change your locks, they seize your property for not paying your taxes. You don't own your home. You don't own your property. You don't own the land it sits on. You rent it from the federal government, even though technically speaking, it doesn't belong to them anyway. If anything, it belongs to the state government. It belongs to the state, not the federal government. But you got to pay your federal property taxes, and if you don't, they take it from you. Do you really own it? Would that be considered abolishing privately owned land? I don't know. You tell me. 2, a heavy progressive or graduated income tax. Gee, do we seem to have that one? I'll tell you what, talk about this whole income tax thing, man, okay? I'm going to be honest with you guys. Now, if I offend, I don't care. I'm a single white guy, all right? Divorced, single, white guy, no kids, all right? The government doesn't give me a dime. I pay them. I get a return back, but my return never exceeds the taxes that I pay. All right, I kind of despise this. I mean, if we're going to have an income tax, whatever, fine, But equal representation under the law and equal represent. I always forget that second part. What's that second part, guys? Equal protection and equal representation. There we go. Equal protection from the law and equal representation of the law. If you have two people that the only thing separating them is a kid and a ball and chain, and they're paying two different amounts in their taxes, is that equal representation? Is it? No. So a heavy progressive or graduated income tax. Moving on. Abolition of all rights of inheritance. I've heard it told, don't die in New York. And Mr. Dave Canyon of Dubbing It Down with Dave over there in YouTube land, I'm sure that he can attest with that. I mean, they have a state, income tax, or, they got state tax, they got city tax, within the county, within the New York County, whatever that thing is. Within that, you've got the county tax, you have an inheritance tax, you have a death tax, you have a this, that, and the other, because more and more of yours, it's like, you didn't pay enough when you were alive, so in order to give your remaining wealth to your kids or whatever, we're going to take a portion of that too, even though it's already been taxed. Maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, they're going to tax it more. Abolition of all rights of inheritance. Moving on, number 4, confiscation of the property of all immigrants and rebels. They kind of do that already, not necessarily immigrants, but, with rebels, okay, you go into jail, you go to prison, they kind of take your stuff, estate, to pay for whatever stuff. I mean, to an extent, okay, I can see that one. But there's also, on here, and I don't remember where I actually got this from. Maybe I can look that up and find that later on. But I mean, there's like case laws on here for how this references that this is the case here in the United States. Moving on, number 5, centralization of credit. Oh, this is a big one, guys. This is a big one. Centralization of credit in the hands of the state by means of a national bank with state capital and an exclusive monopoly. I'm going to take this a little bit beyond that, okay? Of course, you have a central bank, okay? Freddie Mac, they're not part of the central bank, but Freddie Mac and not Bernie Mac, but Freddie Mac, and then there's another Fannie Mae, I think was another one. Okay, these guys are being demanded, because the federal government is getting back into the housing business. I learned this not that long ago. They're getting back into that. You guys remember the whole real estate collapse, the housing collapse that happened not that long ago? And do you remember how that happened? Well, guess what? It's getting ready to happen again because the federal government is getting back into the housing stuff. They're going to federally, not just with the FDIC, federally securing your money, but they are going to do the same thing for foreclosures in the housing market. They're going to guarantee every loan. That doesn't mean it's going to benefit you. It's going to benefit the banks. Moving on. Number 7, extension of factories and instruments of production owned by the state, the bringing into cultivation of wasteland and the improvement of the soil, generally in accordance with a common plan. Now, this one's a little bit into, the EPA, getting into the EPA a little bit because there's, stuff with the EPA. I mean, it's kind of funny, man. Now, this is kind of with something that we're going to get to a little bit later because this has to do with the redistributing of the population, okay, for purposes of whatever they want to do it for. You've had places where the EPA says a factory can't go here because of the water table, because of this, that, and the other, because an endangered frog with a particular type of bacteria has to be a protected animal, and even though they can, travel anywhere, but you also have a pink flamingo that only seems to want to roost here, even though it loves to roost elsewhere in other times of the year. But it might take away their precious fodder out in the field that doesn't have anything to do with anything other than Clive Bundy. But they're doing all that crap, but yet whenever it comes to housing development, yeah, sure, we'll put that there. We're not going to let a Walmart go there, but we're going to let a 200 apartment building go there, even though that's going to have a bigger impact on the environment than what the Walmart would. Yeah. Number 8, equal liability of all to labor, establishment of industrial armies, especially for agriculture. That's that whole to each his need and to each his ability, I think is how that phrase is paraphrased by Going. Yeah, I don't remember exactly how it goes. Anyway, in which case we have Social Security, we have welfare, we have a lot of other different things. And this thing points out a couple other things. So moving on, number 9, combination of, where does that one go? Oh, yeah, okay. Combination of agriculture with manufacturing and industries. Global abolition of the distinction between town and country by a more equitable distribution of the population over the country. Remember where I said we'd get back to that? Moving the population around a little bit. What do you think they're doing? But the federal government right now is even going a step further than that because they're taking immigrants and then they're busing them all over the places. All over the places. I can speak, really, I can. They're busing them all over the place. They're trying to redistribute the population. Of course, they're doing it for a little bit different of a reason because these guys are doing it because they're doing it in hopes that these people will vote Democrat in the next election because they're wanting to try to turn these red states blue. I actually kind of hate that the Republicans are red and not blue because I like blue. I'm not a red fan. I like blue. I like blue. I wish Republicans were blue. Let's change that. We'll change that next election. Yeah. Number 10. Ooh, this is a good one. Free education for all children in government schools, abolition of children's factory labor in its present form, combination of education with industrial production. The abolition, free education, the federalization of education. That's what they did back in 1978. because this is actually what kind of cracks me up, because even though it's number 10 in the list, it's number 1 in practice, because the first thing you do is you go after the kids. That's the first thing you do. You brainwash them early enough. You mix their education and you jack their education up so much that the parents can't even help the kids out anymore. Common Core. Like it or hate it, I can't do it. It's weird to me, you know. I remember, you know, a buddy of mine's stepdaughter asked me for help on her math, and I love math. I absolutely love math, you know. And she had the question, it was like 5 and 5/8. Take that to lowest common denominator, you know, the LDC. No, LCD, lowest common denominator. Yeah, take that down to the LCD, you know, 5 and 5/8. So I'm like, okay, well, let's see. 5 and 5/8. So 5 times 8, 40, plus 5 is 45. 45 over 8. That's already in the lowest common denominator. You can't take that down anymore. You know, 2/4 is, you know, 2 over 1. You know, 4/8 is 1/2. It's the same number. It's the same number. You're not changing the proportions. You're just changing, you know how big the slice is. You know, you're not changing how much pie I get. You're just going to change how big my slice is. You know, but the proportion remains the same. And, you know, I told her, I'm like, dude, 5 and 5/8 is already down to the lowest common denominator. They can't go down any lower than that. 5 and 5/8 is 5 and 5/8 because 5 and 5/8 represents 5 big old pies. And then 5 out of 8 slices of a 6th pie. That's what 5 and 5/8 means. You know, she went back to the school. She had that answer down. And the teacher's like, no, that's wrong. 5 and 5/8 goes down to 5/8. She told me that it was wrong. I looked at her. I go, you ask the teacher what my 5 pies are. Because I deserve 5 pies. You know, she's going to tell me that, you know, knowing that 4/8 is 1/2 and 2/4 is 1/2 and 5 and 5/8 is 5 and 5/8. Where's my 5 more pies? Because you just took away my pies. Would you be taking away my pies? Anyway. You want to directly change the thought process of a people? Start by taking control of the education system. And that's what they've done. Back in 1978, the year I was born, actually, you know, triggered. My birth triggered. Not really. But there you go, guys. You know, you take a look at that, and it's like, wow, we are a lot further into this whole thing, you know, into this whole communist manifesto, 10 pillars of communism, to what most people really thought that we were. So there you go, guys. There is your edification for today. You know, edification for today. And so next week, who knows what we're going to be talking about. You know, I don't know what we're going to be talking about. I'm sure something's going to pop up. You know, it's just, something always happens, dude. News, it's just always rolling. It's always going. It's amazing. So, guys, I thank you much for stopping by. Thank you much for joining, for tuning in. And we are going bye-bye now. Y'all take care. Don't have too much fun. Bye. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head on over to thehohoshow.com. And for all things Weaponized Sloth Productions related, you can head on over to WSPFM.com. Until next time.